Yo, I'm Brendan. Just weeks after M1 Finance made their service even cheaper, now it's basically free. I don't know how they're affording to do this. I don't know how they can give us all these benefits and not charge us, but this is the way it is. So today I'm going to go over the big change they just made literally 14 minutes ago. First, I'm going to go over the changes and how much cheaper it's gotten, and then I'll go over the basic features of M1 Finance, show you my account, and show you kind of what you're getting for essentially no money now. It's crazy. Whenever a company sends you an email like this and it's like, M1's about to get better, I'm always skeptical because you're like, is it though? Is it better for me or is it better for you? Somehow they're giving us more and they're costing us less. So somehow I think it really is getting better for us, but this is just first impressions. So we'll see over time. This is the big news though. We've decided to end our M1 Plus membership program. What? Their premium features will no longer require membership and will instead be available to everyone who builds and manages their wealth on M1. Financial technology companies typically have a way of making sure that they don't lose. And so let's read on and see if there's a way that we can clearly lose by doing this, because so far that sounds okay. I'll take it. Starting May 15th, a $3 platform fee will apply to clients with less than 10 grand in M1 assets or without an active personal loan. If I'm honest, I didn't even realize they did personal loans. I knew they did margin, but I'm not classifying that as a personal loan. So maybe I'm misinterpreting that. And then they say each billing cycle is limited to a month-by-month deal. So if you meet the requirements for at least one day during each cycle, then this is waived for you. So what it sounds like, without digging into this any further just off the bat, is that as long as you got more than 10 grand overall in M1, then you're good. It's free. Maybe free isn't a word they're allowed to use legally, but to me, it sounds like free. They're removing their fee that used to be higher. Then they moved it down to $3, and then now it's essentially $0 as long as you've got enough money in there. And if this is the only caveat really to have 10 grand in M1 assets, I don't hate that, because I like an incentive that makes me want to invest more, makes me want to save more. This is sort of like the opposite of an assets under management fee, which makes me, if anything, want to save and invest less because it's charging me more and more with the more money I invest. You know, this way, all you've got to do is max out your IRA for a year and a half and you're there. Or maybe transfer over a brokerage account to make sure you get to 10 grand and you're there. They say, you're in great shape, referencing me. Like personally, they say I'm in great shape. My assets as of March 15th, the platform fee will not apply to me. And it's even cool that they're giving us 2 months notice. So you've got 60 days notice to get up to 10 grand in here. So if you like M1, if you weren't willing to necessarily pay for the features of M1 Plus, but now it seems worthwhile because it's not going to cost you anything extra, they give you 60 days to transfer some money in there. So that's pretty cool. And then this is also cool. When we make the change, they'll refund any remaining months of your Plus membership and your existing Plus features will become platform-wide. What? M1 Finance is going hard today. How are they doing this? I literally don't know how they're affording to do this. Maybe they were losing customers to other platforms and they decided to just give everybody all the features and not charge an outright fee for it. There's got to be a way they're making money. Wow. So what M1 Plus or the premium membership or whatever it was called that's now Kaputs was giving us was a cheaper way for us to borrow money against our own account. That's what margin is. You can basically take money from M1 Finance in terms of a loan, and the money that you have invested with them is the collateral against that loan. And so typically the rate was, I think, closer to like 9% right now. With M1 Premium, M1 Plus, it was down to 7.25%, but now it's going to be for everybody, 7.25%. You also got access to smart transfer rules, and so it would set up, you know, once I have this much money in this account at this time, transfer it over, that kind of thing. Fairly basic. I would hope that would be in there anyway. They would by default only have given you a morning trade window. So if you put in an order to say, hey, let me buy 10 shares of VTI, well, that would only ever happen during this one time in the morning, like right when the market opens. And then you'd have to pay for the Plus membership to get the afternoon trade window. But now that's available to everybody too, or it will be on May 15th. And then you got better cash back with the owner's reward card, which I never found to be that great, honestly. But if somehow those specific retailers that it works with make sense with you, then by all means, that could be very valuable. 5% APY on high yield savings accounts. That was always great and pretty easy to be made worthwhile as long as you deposited enough money. Now, as long as you've got 10 grand anywhere in M1 Finance, it's worth it because you're getting this included. It's sort of not free because you've got to have your money there with them, but there's no fee. So fee versus free depends on how you define that. But now what I'm really curious about is this asterisk. So it says here in the middle of the email, meet platform requirements asterisk. Part of my job is to hunt down what these asterisks mean for you and digest the information so that you don't get caught off guard later on. So let's find out. Let's do a little sleuthing. Tell me all of your secrets, M1 Finance. You will be charged the $3 monthly platform fee if at any point during the 30 days prior to program launch, your total aggregate M1 earn and invest balances do not equal or exceed 10 grand, or if you don't have an active M1 personal loan. So A, I read that backwards last time. That verbiage up there seemed confusing. What did it say again? Each billing cycle is 30 days. Meeting platform requirements at least one day during each cycle will ensure the fee is waived for you. So to me, that sounds like I could have $5 in M1 Finance. Then one random day, it spikes up to 10 grand. Then the next day I take the 10 grand back out and then I don't have to pay the fee, right? Meeting the requirements at least one day ensures the fee is waived. Okay. Now, when I read the asterisk down here, it sounds like the literal opposite of that. You will be charged the $3 fee if at any point during the 30 days prior to launch, your total aggregate earn and invest balances don't equal or exceed 10 grand. Am I reading this wrong? So let's just look at the app and see exactly what we see here. Because what this is saying to me is that I've got to either in earn, which is the high yield savings account, have 10 grand the whole month, or else I'm going to be charged the fee. Or in invest, if I don't have at least 10 grand for literally the entire month, then I'm going to be charged the fee. That is very tricky verbiage. I feel like those are literally saying two different things. Do you read it that way? Let me know in a comment. Let's just peruse the Help Center real quick and see if we can see anything else. I mean, this is one way that M1 is going to make money despite not charging us a fee, which is fully paid securities lending. This is not an uncommon thing. A lot of different brokers do this. I mean, most brokers do this, so it's not something that's new or different or crazy. But when you think about the share of income that they're keeping versus what we're getting, it's a little bit of a shaft kind of deal. Fully paid securities lending is when M1 lends whole shares of stocks to meet the obligations of investors and institutions. It's a very tricky thing to imagine, but imagine you've got these stocks, and so maybe a bunch of trading is happening and people want to sell them and buy them and stuff like that. They sort of need the share to do that. And so even though you're going to retain ownership of it, they will lend it sort of temporarily to somebody else so they can do what they need to do, and then you still keep it. You can still buy it and sell it the same, but you get a little bit of revenue from that. So you get 10% of the revenue from lending out your shares, which sounds like, oh, a 10% bonus. I'll take that. But then I read it and I was like, wait a second. How do you get a 10-90 split from them? Like, it's my share. I'm the one getting my dividend payout changed. Why would I not get 50% of the revenue? I want it to be 50-50. They're my shares, dang it. That change in how your dividends are received is that instead of receiving a technical dividend in terms of what the IRS sees as a dividend, which affects how you're taxed, you get something instead that's known as a dividend in lieu. So no matter how your dividend was supposed to be categorized in terms of taxes, all payments in lieu of dividends are non-qualified. So that means they get reported on 1099 MISC. So what that means for us is you're taking a much less favorable tax treatment so that you can get that little 10% bonus, and you're still getting the value of the dividend. It's just that now you're suffering in terms of tax treatment, so you can get that little bonus in terms of revenue sharing. So you've got to make sure that's actually worth it to you. For those of us who just invest in indexes and you're not really tracking that kind of thing, you don't want to think about it in depth, do whatever you want. But if you're earning a lot of dividends, or if you're really intentional about how you set up dividends so that you don't get taxed a bunch on them, this will jeopardize that. Is there anything else in help topics we need to know? I just looked at all of these M1 Plus perks, and I don't see any specific mention of things significantly changing or getting worse, because now it's going to be available to everybody as long as you've got 10 grand in there. I mean, it looks like we're getting all the same perks as M1 Plus, just basically for free now. This is wild. Well, just when I thought M1 Plus couldn't get much better, they pulled this out. And granted, $3 per month isn't like the biggest thing to avoid. You know, we're talking about $36 per year. It's not a huge thing whether or not we're paying $1 to $5 per month to use an investing app. It's not going to make a significant difference on our life. Let's just verify that with a little trip to Mr. Calculator and just prove this. So let's say you start with $0, you invest for 35 years, you get a pretty average return. You're putting in $400 a month. You end up with almost $1.1 million. Way to go. 85% of your gains are the interest you've earned, the returns you've gotten from investing for so long. Only 15% of that's your own money. So now, what if you're paying a dastardly fee? What if you're paying $5 per month to invest somewhere? Horrible. So this is 1.07 million versus 1.085 million. So the difference here is $13,500 over the course of 35 years. It's not nothing, but it's not a huge difference. Talking about a total net difference in terms of your value of your portfolio when you're ready to retire of 1%, 1.25%. How bad is a $3 per month fee? It's obviously a much more minimal impact because you go from 1.085 to 1.077. So you miss out on 8 grand, which is 0.75% of a negative impact on your portfolio. I mean, I would rather have 8,000 than not, but I also feel like if you really love the service, it's worth paying $5 a month, something like that. Well, I'd say that's pretty wild. I think that's going to drive some people more to M1 Finance, or it's going to secure their spot to go, hey man, I get all the same features that I would have to, let's say, pay for Robinhood Gold to access, and I get them with M1 Finance. I do wish that M1 Finance had a more attractive transfer option in terms of like the bonus you get for transferring over an existing retirement account or an existing brokerage account or an old 401k, something like that. If they really bump that up and they got it up to the 3 to 5% bonus range, then I would be totally sold. I'd be shoveling everything I could into M1 Finance right now. But no investing service is perfect. No investing service has the absolute best features for everybody all the time. But M1 Finance has definitely taken a step in that direction today. If you have any questions about M1 Finance, then make sure and ask them and let me know if you think it's worth it or not to go with M1 Plus. Now it's just going to be M1 starting in 2 months. So this is a very interesting turn of events. Here's my last video on M1 Finance right here, and that was a pretty interesting development. And if you want to see M1 Finance compared to all the other investing apps at the very beginning of this year, then here's my best investing app for beginner video. Until next time, see you guys later. Bye.